It's rare that you see a drummer who's a lead vocalist. I mean, Phil Collins' music scares the hell out of me, but it's kind of interesting to see. You know, have you ever tried to perform as a?
That's hard. Yeah, I can. You know, I play piano and sing, and I can play guitar and sing. Obviously, I can't play saxophone and sing. But yeah, I've tried it. I think I could do it with a very minimal beat, but.
Who in your personal life growing up was sort of a hard-ass mentor or teacher that really pushed you?
I had a few, but certainly the most memorable was a music teacher, a band leader that I had. I was a jazz drummer in a jazz orchestra, much like this, and I had a conductor, somewhat like Fletcher, and I just remember, you know, when you have a conductor like that, music beforehand had just been this sort of hobby for me, actually. It hadn't been a huge part of my life, and it became 100% my life due to this conductor. I practiced 6 hours a day, and every other hour of the day I was in rehearsal or I was listening to music. I was thinking about jazz, Buddy Rich, Joe Jones. I was just living in this world. My hands were bleeding on the kit. I was, you know, having anxiety, nightmares, and panic attacks, and it was just this state of heightened kind of living through jazz that I'll never forget.
I had some teachers and some directors, you know, as an actor early on in my career, and not so early on really, who pushed, you know, who didn't settle for, you know, what came easily, you know, and who demanded more, never in a way approaching Fletcher's demanding style, but yeah, I think it's important to have people expect more out of you.
So you went to Harvard, I understand.
Yeah.
So it seems like there's so many comedy writers that come out of Harvard that go work for SNL and other televised comedy shows. Did you find yourself surrounded by mostly wannabe comedy writers?
Yeah, I mean, there's different kind of pools. A lot of those people are in the Lampoon at Harvard. I was in the Visual Environmental Studies department, which is much more, I was making kind of weird avant-garde 16mm sort of documentary movies at Harvard. So it didn't exactly line up with the comedy writers, but of course, you know, I knew a lot of them. I know a lot of them out in LA.
Who's one of your friends that you can kind of count on that always kind of turns you on to a new sound or just his or her own taste?
Yeah, I got some buddies that have some good stuff. My buddy Jai, who I did this movie Divergent with, he's a really talented guitar player, singer, and actually whenever we get together, usually we have a couple beers and kind of, you know, jam out a little bit.
Who is the loudest person you know? Because you certainly, whether it's a fun character or it's a hostile character, you have a very loud, booming voice. But who's the loudest person you know?
That would be my brother. He who was for years referred to as Uncle Loud Guy, who has the same voice, but I think is capable of even more volume. But usually in a joyous way, not in a you know, horrible way.
And the last question for you, what do you think is hotter to see, a girl who plays the sax, the cymbals, or the bagpipes?
What's the cymbals? What do you mean, like that? I would have to say bagpipes for sure.